Yesterday, in a last-minute attempt to win more right-wing votes, Mr. Netanyahu avowed that no Palestinian state would be established if he was re-elected. National security analyst Arash Amaresh joins me now live from Los Angeles. Arash, great to speak to you. Let's stick with that pledge from Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday. Do you think it'll make any difference, saying that there will be no Palestinian state? Is that a vote winner?
Well, it's definitely going to energize the base. His right-wing base parties on the right, to the right of Likud parties like Shas, that's a religious party, parties like Beit Israel, or Home Israel, parties that cater to radical, more right-wing, both secular and religious Jews who A, don't believe in a two-state solution, and B, do not want to give back any portions of occupied West Bank or or Judea and Samaria. So people like Lieberman, people like Moshe Kalon, people on the right would be happier to see their base energized to come out and vote for Mr. Netanyahu. Since this is sort of a referendum on Benjamin Netanyahu, he's really going to have to count on his right-wing base to come out for a big turnout for him to survive.
Mixed reviews to his speech to the US Congress in the last week or so. Has there been any boost in terms of the Israeli vote as a result of that speech?
I think it just gave more ammunition to Mr. Netanyahu's critics in Israel. Itzhak Herzog, the leader of the Labor Party. This is the oldest party in Israel. It's the successor to the Ben-Gurion, the founder of Israel's political party. Mr. Herzog has made this argument consistently that it has been Mr. Netanyahu's actions and his misdeeds that have isolated Israel, that have given advantage to countries like Iran, that have put a wide gap between the United States, the White House, and the office of the Prime Minister in Israel. So his trip to the United States and his visit to Congress was in a way used by many critics, including Itzhak Herzog, the leader of the Zionist Union, and also Tzipni Livni, former foreign minister. She's also part of the Zionist Union. She was a foreign minister in a Netanyahu cabinet. She was a foreign minister in two different cabinets, including she had a portfolio as a justice minister, actually, in Netanyahu's cabinet. They have criticized the prime minister for his actions. It all comes down to this. This is a big referendum on the sort of the report card of Prime Minister Netanyahu on two things. First and foremost, it seems like the economy is actually going to matter a great deal. The Labor Party, the left, and the Zionist Union have campaigned a great deal on the economy and on closing this gap between the rich and the poor. And second, a very close second, the national security issues such as the Iranian nuclear program, the worsening relationship between Netanyahu and President Barack Obama, and also what's going to happen with the occupied territories, with the Palestinian issue, and also with Israel as a vibrant Jewish democracy.
Yeah, well, we are expecting a coalition. As we were just saying, there's always been a coalition in Israel. Whatever the outcome of this election, whatever the combination is that make up that coalition government, what impact do you think that could potentially have on the Middle East peace process?
Well, clearly, if Mr. Netanyahu is re-elected, as he just said yesterday, he will never allow for the creation of a Palestinian state. And that will create some issues. If Israel wants to be a democratic, free, and Jewish state, they have to allow for the creation of a Palestinian state. It is just demographically impossible to have one state to absorb all the Palestinians and expect to have a Jewish state. That's just impossible, unless they will they will opt out for a sort of a two-class, two-citizen class sort of system, which I don't think most Israelis will be happy or comfortable with. On the other hand, you would see probably a worsening in relations between the U.S. and Mr. Netanyahu, depending on how the Iran nuclear talks pan out until Mr. Obama leaves office. But if Mr. Herzog wins the election, and as Ms. Livni just announced last week, they are not going to rotate. They were going to rotate the prime ministership, the premiership between Mr. Herzog and Ms. Livni, but now she has opted out of that option. If that coalition wins, well, there will be more hope for the continuation of peace talks, definitely improvements between on the U.S.-Israeli relations, and perhaps a bigger push on bringing the Palestinians to the negotiating table by asking them to clean their house, stop certain terrorist groups that launch attacks against Israel, and also saying, listen, Netanyahu and the hard right are gone. We're here to negotiate. Let's negotiate in good faith. We'll give it a chance.